Welcome back to Top Gear, and behind me is Mahindra's newest EV offering for India. Now, Mahindra in the past, the electric cars, their newer electric cars, not counting the XUV400, which was obviously based on the XUV300. The newer electric cars, the BE6 and the Mahindra XEV9e, were really modern, really sort of futuristic shapes. This is more realistic. This is more mass market. What this basically is the Mahindra XEV9S. Now, frankly, I think the 9e should have been named the 9S for 9 Sport, and maybe this should have been named the 9e, but that's for another day, another discussion. This basically is the electric version of the Mahindra XUV700, a car that we all seem to love and a car that sells really, really well. Now, they've obviously given the new Mahindra electric look to it. So you've got the sort of arrow-shaped headlamp cluster and the daytime running light that runs across. And of course, you don't need a grille, so it's all flattened out. They've got a bit of a groove in it. This reminds me of maybe like a blue whale. It's got like this blue whales type, sort of these lines and these ribs through it. And frankly, it does have this very Mahindra-esque look. You won't really mistake it for anything else when it comes down the road. It's a similar look to what the 9e also gets. Obviously, it's a cousin car, so it will be similar. But the difference then is completely sort of North Pole to South Pole, because where the 9e is all swoopy, it's got big 20-inch wheels, this is more conventional in approach. So it's still got 18-inch wheels. Obviously, it's tuned more for comfort. And at the end of it, it is a Mahindra XUV700 on the side. Now, we've seen the prototype of this years ago. In fact, this should have been one of the first launches out there, but Mahindra pushed this a little bit later to have their flagship BE6 and XEV9e out first, which was a smart thing to do because those are cool looking SUVs, and now this is of course a little more mass market. So the XUV700ness obviously in the rear quarter panels, and when you go around the back, it is unmistakably an XUV700 with an electric powertrain. Now obviously it's an electric powertrain because you've got the charging ports right here, which obviously replace the diesel and the petrol ports. But again, overall design wise too, you see the same sort of tail lamp structure, although the tail lamp itself is a little bit more detailed, is a little bit more different. And of course you've got the electric logo as compared to the standard Mahindra logo on it. Then you've got a little badging on the bottom that says it's the 9S. But overall, it looks like a XUV700 which has been tweaked just a little bit here, a little bit there. That's on the outside though. On the inside, a whole bunch of differences. But before we get there, let me show you the engine. Well, actually not the engine, because the engine's somewhere down there, because that's a motor. Let me show you the frunk. That's where the engine on the 700 used to be. Now, just like a luxury car, you have to pull the tab twice on this to open the frunk. And where the engine on the 700 used to be, you've got a ton of storage. That's a lot of storage. That's 150 liters, I believe, of storage space, and you've got some little storage space on the bottom as well. So you want to store something secretive down here, or maybe you want to put some ice and put some drinks. You got a little tab so you can have the water drain out from underneath there as well. There you go. This sort of tab goes right here. But overall, a whole bunch of space. Now, since this doesn't have an engine, it has motors in the back. This is only rear wheel drive. This is not four-wheel drive or not all-wheel drive yet. Certainly not front-wheel drive like the XUV700 also is, but there are a bunch of motors on offer. Now, like Mahindra's done with the other SUVs, they've made the variants, they've called them packs. So pack 1 above, that's what they call it, pack 2 above, and then pack 3 above. Now, you've got multiple motor options. So you've got a 59 kilowatt option, you've got a 70 kilowatt option, or 59 and 79 on the pack 1, 70 and 79 on the pack 2, and the top spec, like what this is, only gets the big motor option, the big battery option, and that makes 281 horsepower. Now, almost 600 and something kilometers of range, 679 if I'm not mistaken, kilometers of range. Now, obviously, the lower ones get slightly lower horsepower, get slightly less range also. We'll put those figures in the description below so you can have a look at it. If my memory serves me correct, 224-ish horsepower on the 59 kilowatt hour battery and 241 on the 70 kilowatt hour battery. Of course, again, I'm going to put the exact figures in the description below, so don't quote me on this, but at the end of the day, 3 different options and 3 different sort of motors or battery packs to choose from. Now, let's get inside, because the insides are where all the cool bits are.
Okay, we're now on the inside of the 9S, and the big talking point is always going to be this triple screen layout. Now, we've seen this screen on the 9E. Obviously, this car is based on that same car. It's going to get the screen, and you can turn it off. You can turn the passenger display off. You can sort of long press the knob and turn it off. Or if you want both the screens off, you can press this button and everything gets turned off. But we're going to keep it on for the sake of this video. What the difference between this and the 9E is that they've used slightly different materials, slightly different colors in the color palette overall. So you get this almost olive drab, almost green colored or olive colored leatherette that they've used on the dashboard. They've used it on the side doors, side sort of door panels here, on the door cards, and also on the center console. And they've used it around the seats as an accent piece. Now, the seat itself is like almost like a creamish color, crema, if you want to call it that, with this sort of green accent. Now, I don't really know why they've used the green accent or a green leather sort of patch everywhere, because frankly, on a white car, it might look good, but maybe if it's a conflicting color like red, I don't really know if it will go with that, but it remains to be seen. And of course, in the future, they will have different versions with maybe a black interior or something like that. In any case, like the Ebony Edition XUV700 is. Now, the other thing that you get is the boss mode, so you can actually control the seats right from here. We've seen this in other cars as well, so it's not really like a sort of segment defining feature, but it's always good to have, especially since a lot of these cars are going to be chauffeur driven. And now, since this is a 3-row SUV, and all the Mahindra sort of people who I've spoken to have said that this is a pure 3-row SUV, the rear seats are not just for children and you can actually get into them. We're going to try doing that live right now. I am a large human being, so if I can fit into that 3rd row, then this car does have a lot going for it. Now remember, there are not many 3-row electric SUVs in India. You've got the Claris, which is an MPV. Then you've got the Kia EV9, the Mercedes EQB, and I believe the Mercedes EQS gets a 7-seat option. So you've got about 3 or 4 vehicles. Now, in terms of proper SUV, this is the only mass market 3-row SUV there is. Another feature that actually I quite like is the fact that they have given all seats in the center row as well. Now, that's a good thing because frankly, a lot of cars don't offer that as an option. They get cool seats only in the front. And if people are going to be chauffeur driven and sitting in the back, then might as well give them cool seats, right? Right. Now, let's try. So, quick, easy, sort of flip down, and here, I'm going to try and get in without showing my behind. So, if I do, please, only say sorry for what we might be about to see. Right. Okay. So, bit of a, yeah, that's a bit of a stretch, even for me. Now, I'm not super tall. I'm only about 5'10", just a little about 5'10 and a half, 5'11". I definitely do not fit in the back here. Now, I'm not even going to bother putting the seats down because frankly, as I've always said, these 3rd rows, or the 3rd row in this car, I'm going to sit slightly sideways and talk now. 3rd row in this car, still best suited for children, luggage, etc. You do get a big boot, so it's always nice to have a 3rd row if you fold the seats flat. But otherwise, yeah, best for much smaller human beings. Unless, of course, you have friends who are like my size and you want to just torture them, then you can put them in the back. One of the reasons I don't fit in the back is not because this is a more cramped car as compared to the 700. Actually, frankly, it is because you've got less space in it. Now, why do you have less space? That's because the floor itself is raised, because the battery pack is underneath the floor. It's right here. It's right in this sort of structural area. And that means everything comes up a few inches, which means I don't have the head space in the back to sit. Even if I had a little bit of leg space, I could sort of manage to somehow sit. Or if I could move the middle row sort of forward and have leg space, it's the head space that's not an issue. Because if you move everything up to 2 or 3 inches, which is what about this is, you can come and see the structure here. This about this 2 or 3 inches. That means you do have a lack of space in the back. In fact, even in the middle row, when you do sit, your legs are slightly sort of more upwards as compared to what they are in the 700. Now you do get this little attachment for like a little mount or a tablet or a screen of some sort for the children or for passengers in the rear. But frankly, that's an overview of the Mahindra XEV 9S. Now, prices start at 19.95 lakhs for the base model with a 59 kilowatt battery. And this one right here is 29.45. Everything inclusive, right? With a 79 kilowatt hour battery, for the big range number, for the big power figure, all in, for all the bells and whistles, which means it is actually very competitively priced, because on road, it's another lakh and a half, so about 21 and a half lakh rupees at most. That makes it, 31 and a half lakh rupees almost. That makes it a damn good proposition as compared to your regular ICE versions. In fact, in the past, EVs were a lot more expensive, remember, as compared to their ICE counterparts. Today, they're almost at par, if not maybe even a little bit cheaper. Of course, you get a lot more horsepower for that kind of money. Now, tell me in the comment section what you think about the electric version of the XUV700. Should Mahindra have just named this XEV7E or 7S? And I don't really know why they've done the 9 in it. But frankly, tell me what you think of this car. For now, the review of this will go out in a couple of days, so go and watch that. That will give you driving impressions, range impressions, and overall impressions as well. There are some very key details that I will put in that. For now, thank you so much for watching Top Gear India. We will see you soon.